I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed it, Pressure Points with your two favorite hosts. I'm D, and this is Dynamite AJ. We're coming at you with Season 6, Episode 33, The Humanitarian War Criminal. I'm going to be telling the best example of the duality of man, so put on your thinking caps, strap in, and let's get to us. Find us on Instagram, Patreon, and pointsopressuregot.com, baby.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
Welcome back to Take D.
Yeah, to Take D.
Despite the soundboard being the exact same for 3 years.
It's because I wasn't looking at it.
You still managed to hit the wrong button.
I was watching you click record and I hit the wrong thing.
You blind fired it?
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
You guys didn't hear it, so sorry about that. But, yeah, how was your week?
Busy.
Yeah?
I pushed off all my homework until today.
Hey, did you finish it all?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I was like,
rough.
do you still have more to do?
No. Thank goodness, no. But it was, I've got like, everything's kind of blurry in my eyes. And I can't remember the previous week. Played a lot of Starfield, I think.
Yeah, good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do that after this, too.
Yeah, same. That's why this episode is ready at 9 instead of 11.
Exactly. We got to go. Not only is that the two official numbers of Pressure Points, 9 and 11.
Oh, yes, true, yeah.
But
it's the only time we record is either at 9 or 11.
Yeah, it's in the charter. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted to make a 9/11 joke.
Oh.
Now that we're after 9/11, it's okay. You can make those jokes,
almost
right?
2 weeks now.
Is it?
But, yeah.
Good God, this month is cruising.
Really, we have a week left in September.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And not even that. It's less than a week, because a week left in September would still go till next Sunday. We only got till Saturday for September to be over.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified. I don't know dates.
I know you don't.
Yeah, we're going.
That's your tism. It'll get you.
It is. Every time.
Dates.
No,
dates are AJ's tism.
About a week ago, I booked a little cabin.
So 15 days ago?
Yeah, something like that. It could be anywhere between 4 and 15 days.
It was either 1 month ago or yesterday. Anywhere
between there. I paid for a little cabin that we're going on our anniversary.
Nice. Where is it? Tell me the address.
The address?
Everyone.
Oh, yeah. No,
we're going to go pick it your anniversary.
Yeah. that would be so much fun. No, I convinced my wife. I mean, I can say we're going to be spending one of the days in Canyonlands. And I convinced her to go hiking. So,
Jesus.
Joke's on her. We're hiking all through Canyonlands. She's gonna not like it. It'll be great.
Happy anniversary to one of you.
Yeah. Hey, if I'm paying.
Jesus Christ.
I'm only paying for the hotel.
Yeah.
Or for the cabin. And the park entrance fee. So, we split it.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, I'm since we booked it, I'm like, I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to do school shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to do work shit.
You're just ready for vacay. I feel ya.
And we had to book it because it books up fast. So, yeah. I was like, I usually like to hold off until like a couple days before, but it's a busy spot and a busy time.
Nah, dude,
so.
you got to schedule everything in advance now.
I know.
It's rough.
Ugh.
But that'll be fun.
We're excited. Lots of other places that we're going to go in the area.
Good
Not
stuff.
Arches. We're saving that for you and your significant other.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
One of these days.
One of these.
One of these days we'll go.
One of these sometime.
Yeah, someday.
It'll never happen.
We gotta go on a cruise first.
I would love to. How much is a cruise?
I don't know. My girlfriend knows all the details.
Please ask
she
her.
She has all the details and shit for it.
Please ask her so that I can start saving up.
Yeah. I so badly want to go on one.
Because I could feasibly, depending on nursing, getting into the nursing field, depending on when I take my NCLEX.
Yeah, then you can pay for all of us to go.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not even going to pay for my wife. She has to save up. No, as once I'm in nursing, I can probably save up a little bit because I have a 6-month window before the student loans start
I
being
see.
paid.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It would be nice if we could do like a summer cruise.
Yeah. I mean,
or a
as far as I
fall
know, like
cruise.
if you do it in February or March, it's always cheaper.
We might be able to swing a March.
Yeah. So,
Maybe. I don't know.
but then you can also do like Alaskan cruises in like May and June, and it's not as hot and shit. So,
I'd love to do one of those.
oh yeah,
I hate flying. You're going to have to deal with me flying on a plane.
I love flying.
I get so anxious
oh,
that
we have things for that. You're okay.
Oh, no. I self-medicate. The second the steward comes around, I say, hey, Tennessee honey and a Coke.
Yeah.
And it's gone in the second it shows up, and then I cruise for the flight. Then I'm fine. And then I have to put on how it's made.
Yeah.
That's
no,
my
there you
tism.
go.
Yeah. I got to drink on planes.
I
It's
love
rough.
flying, but
I
it's
mean-
fair. It's definitely not for everybody.
I like it, but they're just a couple, like when we're taking off and when we're landing, hate it.
That's fair.
Because
It's weird.
if
It's
we're
really
if
rough.
we're flying,
I mean, if you're gonna,
I'm gonna die.
If you're
I
gonna
don't care.
crash a plane at any time, it's gonna be when you take off or when you land.
Well,
it's not
yeah,
gonna be
and-
while you're just cruising. That
and
shit
you
doesn't
could
happen.
survive if you're taking off or landing.
Yeah, yeah.
If we're
But
you know
still
cruising,
suck. It'll still be miserable.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't want to survive. If I'm in an airplane crash, I want to be dead. I want cease. I'm not putting on the mask.
That's
I
fair.
will cease to exist, and I'm fine with that. I can live with that, but I can't live with the you survived an airplane taking off and crashing or landing and crashing, and now there's 300 dead people or whatever,
Oh.
and my
I'm
my
too
legs don't work.
selfish. I'm too selfish. I'm like, I would prefer that.
No, you'd
But if
prefer
I
to survive.
But if I lose a limb,
Yeah,
then I'll
you'll-
just
that's what I'm
ensure.
saying.
Then I'll ensure I die in the plane crash.
yeah, you'll pull all
I'll
of
just I'll just hold my breath, like fucking whatever.
No, you'll
I'll hold my
you'll,
breath and roll around in jet fuel, and I'm
set.
set. Yeah.
No,
Not
you'll
waking
pull
up.
All Is Quiet on the Western Front. You'll get a spoon and just
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be great.
perfect. Go watch that movie. If
Yeah.
you like history,
Yeah, it's actually
go watch that movie. Watch it in
good-
German. It's so good.
good lead-in for this episode.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
good.
So,
All right.
we're gonna get into it.
You didn't tell me about your week.
Oh, I didn't do shit.
Perfect. All right, let's go.
I went to
You
a
played
wedding.
Starfield and
I
you went to
a wedding that was fucking phenomenal, and I made connections with people that I should have known better. That, like, I thought there was hard feelings there. There weren't. And now I know there's not. And we're
so
all
you
in
gave
much
him
better places. Yeah.
You gave him the pressure points business
No,
card,
we actually did talk about the show.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Both of them already knew about it. And the one was like, "Yeah, I've been listening to you like since you started." I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Hello.
So
Welcome.
Yeah, no hard feelings. It was actually a very mentally calming weekend.
Nice.
So it was good.
I forgot to clean out the garage.
That's okay. We'll
I'll
get a
figure
notice
it
on
out.
Tuesday.
We'll get a
about it.
notice, yeah, and then clean it up.
Yeah,
Oh, and
I'm home all week, so
I almost forgot, but what month is it?
September. We just talked.
Okay,
about
I know. Sorry, something else came up. I remember that there's a movie coming out this fall that I totally forgot that I want to watch in theaters, and I totally forgot about it. And then it's fall, so now I need to look up when it actually comes out.
Oh, I see.
And then the other thing is, welcome 13% of our viewers from Portugal this month.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you found this podcast.
Hello,
but
Portugal.
Hello.
Thanks for tuning in.
And then Germany is third.
Yeah,
Which is
This will
great.
be a phenomenal one for Germany.
Yeah.
Because we're going to go back to Germany, 1868.
Good year. Good year.
Fritz Haber, or Haber, however, I don't care how you want to pronounce it, but I'm calling him Fritz Haber. He was born to Siegfried and Paula. Now,
I love these
Siegfried-
names.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
so
I know,
good.
dude. This is an old school, German Jew episode, man.
Hell yeah.
So Siegfried and Paula had kind of their families didn't really approve of their relationships or their relationship.
Oh, it's a West Side Story, ancient Germany, 1800s Germany.
Right. Reason being that they were first cousins.
Ooh, okay. I understand.
So when Fritz was born, he partially solved the problem of them being first cousins because his mother had complications, and 3 weeks after he was born, she died.
Oh, so solves the problem.
Now the first cousin's gone. Now all the neighbors won't know that, you're incestuous.
And the family
and you won't have more.
The family's all got grandkids, and if I know anything, every family just wants grandkids. They don't give a shit about their actual kids.
So Fritz grew up observing and practicing many German traditions.
Schnitzel?
German and Jewish traditions, sorry.
Schnitzel and Yom Kippur?
Yeah, but he and his father weren't like practicing Jews, I guess.
Like there's some cultural and ethnic influences, but not necessarily practicing the religion constantly.
He himself identified more German than Jew, and his father ended up remarrying, having like 3 daughters with his new wife, and was basically just like ignored Fritz because Fritz was what killed Paula, his cousin, his wife.
His wife.
And so there was a lot of animosity between Fritz and his father. Now,
I'm going to interrupt you and derail you just for a moment.
Okay. I was like, don't do it too much because this is a long episode.
No, I won't. This is something I came across, and it is pertinent. Did you see that Marjorie Taylor Greene wished a happy celebration of Yom Kippur to her Jewish followers?
No.
On Twitter, she said like,
God.
Best wishes or whatever. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was definitely for Yom Kippur. And
God.
it had a oh fuck, the word just left my brain. The candles. Hanukkah. The Hanukkah menorah. It had the menorah on it for Yom Kippur. So it's obvious
she's so
she just opened Canva and typed in Jewish.
Yeah, she just typed in Jew.
Yeah. God. And
no, she just typed in Semite.
Yeah, Semite.
God, dude.
Israelite. Like
she typed in anti-Semite, and there was the circle with the slash through it, and then the menorah. And she was like, I usually use those in tandem, but this time I'll just do the menorah.
I'm trying to get on their good side, so it's already on there. She has to delete it.
She just went, I don't want them to aim their space lasers at me.
Yeah.
Fucking dumb bitch.
Okay, that's it. I just wanted to mention that. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Okay, so cousin fucker's dead.
Yeah.
Other cousin fucker's alive.
Yeah. So
an incest baby is ignored.
Alive and well.
Alive.
So when the opportunity came for him to leave home, he hopped right on board. He always was drawn to chemistry, and so when he tested out of high school, I know, right? When he tested out of high school, he was pointed in that direction already. His father pushed him to stay and work at like the family dye company, but he was like, no, I need to do more. And there was a lot of like back and forth where like he graduated with his bachelor's and came back and studied and like helped to develop a new way for his family to do dyes, and then left again. And his dad was like, come back and work in sales, whatever. It's just like he had a very back and forth relationship with his father, but I think it was only because his dad saw him as a means for income.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what every parent in the 1800s saw their children as?
Yeah, really.
Isn't that why they had 1 million of them?
Well, it's just fucked because his dad didn't give a shit about him until
he could create
help the family
novel
business
dye processes and things like that.
So, he goes off to college, and he actually Fritz studies alongside Robert Bunsen, creator of the Bunsen burner.
I was going to say of Bunsen burner fame. Renowned chemist, yeah. At
22 years old, he begins working as a professor's assistant, and eventually, within a year, becomes like pretty much a full-time like researcher / professor.
Oh, that's
at like
badass.
22, 23.
That's awesome.
This kid is a fucking
rising
chemistry
star
prodigy.
He's a Nile Red.
Yeah. So that same year, he was attending a dance lesson, as strange as it might sound. But he's kind of a socialite. Like,
Yeah, gotta have some hobbies.
yeah,
Get you out of the lab.
he's succeeding in college, but like he has connections everywhere. Like the guy just gets along with everyone. He's an entertainer.
He's the opposite of both of us.
Yeah, I mean, he's not what you would imagine in a chemist. Like,
Yeah.
this guy sticks out like a sore thumb, and a lot of people really love him for the way that he acts in these social settings. So he goes to this dance lesson, and this is where Fritz meets Clara.
It's Clara.
Yeah, Clara.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's fucking love at first sight. At least from his point of view. He sees her. He is immediately drawn to her. They lock eyes. They dance with one another, and he's just enamored with this woman. He's like, he talks to her, and she has such a different way of speaking, because she grew up as a farm girl in a fairly wealthy Jewish family, right? She's extremely independent. She is extremely feminist, and this is 1890. Mm-hmm.
This is when the ghosts are starting.
Yeah. It's not like a common thing for an independent young woman to be going to college that's like, hey, I want to just get through college by my own hand. And after, like, she also knew that there was a spark there with Fritz, but she pulled herself back into reality and she said, hey, look, I want to be with you as well, but right now it doesn't make any sense. He proposes. He says, hey, I would love to marry you. But mind you, he's got his PhD. Like, he's done.
Yeah.
And he's working on research. He's already working in his career.
Yeah, he's in the field.
And she's just starting college, and she's like, I need to catch up. So he proposes, and she says, you know, although I would like to accept, I want to be financially independent until I graduate, which is like, what? Fuck, dude.
A woman?
Like, imagine somebody saying that to you in 1890.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
God damn. And I mean, that's exactly what she did. For the next 11 years,
Jesus.
she continues her education.
What is she going to school for? God damn.
Chemistry. She's going.
Oh, she's also a chemist.
All in on chemistry.
Damn.
And in 1901, she receives her PhD from the University of Breslau, and she's the first woman in this college to receive a PhD.
Badass.
Her thesis is displayed 4 years after her graduation by the college to inspire more young women to enroll and graduate and get their PhD. And it works. And like I said, it may have taken 11 years, but Clara and Fritz meet back up in 1901. Fritz proposes, and Clara says yes. So they get married in 1901, and Clara always said that she...
Man, they really have a lot of chemistry.
Oh, yeah, a lot of chemistry between these two. She always said that she loved Fritz for his mind and his social ability.
That means he's got a small dick,
Yeah, right?
I've heard that before.
She says he was always there with a clever joke. He was always loyal and devoted to his friends, putting everyone's happiness over his own, which is true. This isn't the only account of how charismatic and friendly Fritz was to his friends. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before the episode, but this guy was friends with fucking Albert Einstein. And I think in the 1920s, when Einstein was filing for divorce, Fritz was the one that helped him with the divorce, helped him get through it, helped him fucking figure things out with all of it. Like, he's a fairly good dude.
He's a good bro.
He's a good friend to have in your corner.
Yeah, solid bro. Plus, he's a chemist in the early 1900s, so he can literally make anything for you.
Yeah, he can make anything happen. So about 4 years earlier, around like 1897, Clara had converted to Christianity.
Damn.
And about 3 or 4 years before that, Fritz had converted to Christianity. However, he converted to Lutheranism, and for him, it was more of a career move. His response and reasoning for it was that if he's not Jewish, if he's not listed as a German Jew, he has a better chance at moving up in the military, and he has a better chance at finding a good career, which is, I mean, yeah, we always talk about World War II, but pre-World War II, it was, Jews were welcome in Germany, but it was faux pas, like not faux pas, but it still wasn't a grand environment.
Yeah, we went over that in that earlier episode where we started like the rise of anti-Semitism in the early 1700s and shit like that. Yeah, it was, you could be here. We're going to talk about you behind your back.
Yeah. That one was like,
I have no idea.
I think that's the one where you called Oppenheimer a Nazi.
On accident, yeah. I corrected myself in that episode, though. I just want to clarify.
It's so much worse.
I was thinking
in late 2023 because it's like, how did he not know?
I have not watched the movie yet. I thought in my brain said Werner von Braun and my mouth said Oppenheimer.
You're good.
Two very different physicists.
I have had plenty of Freudian slips on this show, so you're in
slip.
the clear. What a fucking slip. Jesus Christ. So yeah, both now Christian, and as is Christian tradition in early 1900s, after about a year of marriage, Clara has her first child. She gives birth to their first and only child, Herman, or Erman. And the birth of their son kind of puts Clara, who has been thriving at this point after just being a fucking like feminist symbol in Germany, it kind of pulls her from what she loves. She isn't able to
being
study
independent and doing chemistry.
Yeah, she isn't able to study chemistry as much. A lot of her research projects or projects that she has been working on have to go by the wayside because Herman he's sick often.
Probably from all the chemicals that they're bringing into the house.
Right? That it's always on fucking Fritz's clothing.
Herman, have you seen this asbestos? Let me put some in your crib.
So yeah, she kind of starts to slip. Her happiness starts to fade away. She starts to argue a little bit more often with Fritz, because, I mean, everything that she's worked for, like her whole life leading up to this moment, and now she feels like a shell of what she was before. You know, and I mean, she doesn't feel like there's a way out. You know, yeah. So Fritz's research, however, continue. His studies just he gets even further into his studies and everything, and he's more or less like driving in an opposite direction of Clara. And because she's unable to focus on what she loves, and they had so much in common with chemistry, when Fritz buckles down, it's hard for his family life to keep up with him on the same trajectory, right?
Yeah.
But luckily, Fritz saw this a little bit early. And instead of his usual approach, which was like, hey, we need to get out of the house and go see friends, instead he realizes that the best thing that he can do to help Clara is to bring that sociable side of things to her. So he starts arranging and planning dinner parties so that she can attend them.
I would strangle him. I hate being social.
I know, but that's because you're autistic.
Yeah.
So he starts putting these dinner parties together. He starts bringing friends over, including her, including Herman, and it brings her out of this slump. And she starts researching again. And they kind of split things with Herman, and it opens up this phenomenal like level of communication between the two where she's finally able to get back to do what she wanted, and she's able to take care of their kid. He's able to continue with his studies and help with things at home.
I was going to say, a man in the early 1900s thinking of his wife.
Surprisingly enough.
And then, trying to work together almost as equals.
It's
almost.
really interesting because I feel like there was such a love and understanding between these two with how successful both of them were and how prominent both of them were, that it was just like, God, like, this is not standard. Usually it's husband, as usual, as is 1900 tradition, abuses wife, ignores son, goes off to war, comes home with PTSD, and continues to do the exact same thing before he left. But this one, it's nice to see that, like, at least it was a happier home, and there was compromise that was going on.
Yeah, and he's putting out efforts to help her mental health.
Exactly.
Like, that's a big deal.
So, he introduces this balance back into her life, and Clara starts to consult and assist on research that Fritz is doing.
Yeah, that's like the go-to.
Yeah,
if you're two chemists
it's the
who get married,
fucking
of
dream.
course you're gonna like tag team shit and work together on that.
Exactly.
Like, God.
In his first published textbook, he actually makes sure that the very first page, when you open it, it states that it's dedicated to his wife, thanking her for her collaboration. Like, which is fucking huge.
So she, a female collaborated on a chemistry textbook. That's a big deal.
So in the early 1900s, a lot of the world has this big worry that the human population is never going to go above 1.5 billion people, which now that would be so nice. Back then, this isn't so much population, like, we need to grow to be fucking massive. They're like, it's not going to grow to be more than 1.5 billion because of starvation and how frequently people are starving.
Yeah, like we're not at our current capacity. We're not able to provide enough food to go beyond this population.
Exactly
number.
that. So Germany itself was producing.
Yeah, our current number is 11 billion. Did you know that?
Oh, delightful.
Yeah.
So Germany at the time was producing enough food, growing enough food, that they were able to keep 30 million people fed, but there would still be about 20 million people that would starve that year, which is just like... That's a lot of people
starving.
Almost 50% of your population. That's fucked. So a big focus on this is the fact that Germany has all of this extra land, all of this really good fitting farmland, but they can't grow plants on it because the nitrogen levels in that soil isn't enough to sustain plant growth.
Okay, so this is before nitrogen fixing.
Yep.
Awesome.
So there was a lot of utilization of manure and guano that they would put in the soil, but these are kind of cornered markets, and there are places that would need it a hell of a lot more than Germany did. And so it's hard to get your hands on these natural fertilizers. And up to this point, like, industry produced fertilizer isn't a thing. It doesn't exist
If
yet.
you want fertilizer, you go get shit.
Yeah, exactly. So Fritz decides to dedicate all of his time and focus into solving world hunger, literally. And surprisingly enough, in 1909, he does the impossible. He discovers a way to break nitrogen's extremely tight bonds. And he discovers this through utilizing the nitrogen that's literally just in the air around us. He's not having to go, like, get actual nitrogen. He just takes a tank, compresses it, adds heat, introduces a little bit of hydrogen, and that splits that nitrogen molecule. They bond to the hydrogen, and it creates ammonia. And you're able to bind ammonia with a few other chemicals to create fertilizer. And this is monumental.
Oh, it's huge. Like the use of ammonia in fertilizers is also something that I kind of know a little bit about, which is a weird thing to know about, but it's a huge deal because that ammonia when it's mixed with water, when you go to water your plants and stuff, it can like dissolve the nitrogen out into the soil.
It's amazing because it takes this industry that was hard to access previously, and he works alongside this other chemist, Bosch, and Bosch.
Is it Bosch?
Yeah.
Like of the company Bosch?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't think it's the exact same guy, but Bosch figures out a way to commercialize it and do it in huge, huge amounts. So in 1909, they're just like, hey, world, here's fucking
Here
fertilizer.
You go. It's a huge
we can
deal.
feed so many more people on like a massive scale now. Now, all of these places in Germany that you couldn't grow crops, 20 million people can suddenly eat, which is a fucking game changer.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't it. It ended up being cheaper in the long run than getting like the manure and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you already had it.
The only
and even
thing
then,
that you
people
have
would
to
supplement.
acquire for this now is a way to compress the air that's around us.
Yeah.
And adding hydrogen. That is it. That's all that you need, which is just
and hydrogen,
simple.
Super common element. Like
so I mean, this discovery and this advancement is hailed as one of the greatest advancements for like humans by far.
It's a huge deal.
Today
it's so important. It's in Civ games. It's in Civ 6.
God damn. I mean, today itself, over 80% of ammonia that's produced is used in fertilizer production. Over 100 million tons of synthetic fertilizer are created every single year. This shit is so incredibly important. And it's like I said, it's just that easy to get it. And Fritz is the one that figured out how to do it. He's praised for creating bread out of thin air, which is the most perfect explanation of what he's done. And like I said, it's seen as one of the most important technological advances in the 20th century. He's on cloud nine, and he's just as excited to have done it in Germany and with another German. Because this guy, like I said, he's more German than Jewish.
Yeah.
He is a fucking German patriot through and through.
It puts German chemistry on the map.
Holy shit,
in
yeah.
a huge way.
So because of his success, over the next couple of months, he's doing interviews. He's like writing little articles and everything. Like, he's blowing up. And the University of Berlin reaches out to him and says, we want you to be a chemistry professor here. We want you to do your research under the University of Berlin. Who the fuck is he to say no?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
So he moves his family out there. And, I mean, he's everywhere. He's so busy seeing everybody. But as his fame increases, his love for Clara and Herman kind of falls to the side a little bit. Obviously, because when you're so busy and suddenly you're this, like, overnight, everything changes.
You may not adapt well to that.
That's a major balance change in your life. So their relationship begins to struggle, but Clara still really fucking cares about him. And, I mean, it's not like he's coming home and beating the shit out of him. Like, he'll come home at night. It's just...
He's gone all the time.
He's traveling. He's speaking all over Germany. He's speaking all across the fucking world and teaching so many people how to literally save their populations. It's fair. So his importance to Germany starts to kind of go to his head. As it would.
As
like
is tradition.
The guy already has a fairly big ego. He's a socialite.
Yeah.
Like, as these things are coming in, he's like, oh, I'm more important. I'm this big deal. I'm now speaking to the intellectuals that he dreamt of speaking to and working with in Germany. Now he's
He's one of those intellectuals now. Like,
now
holy
he's
shit.
drinking wine across a table with 5 of them at once, and they're all fawning over him. So, like, things start blowing up for him. And Clara starts to kind of catch strays. Because of how big Fritz is, a lot of people in this intellectual community, and even outside of it, start talking about how, hey, maybe it was Fritz that wrote, like, her thesis. Maybe it was Fritz that did this for her. Maybe he wrote her lecture that she did last week. And imagine being a chemist. You're doing all of this research. You're taking care of your kid. And someone says, well, you are living in your husband's shadow. And
Yeah, that's shitty.
there's a chance that he's writing your shit for you. Fucking heartbreaking.
Assholes.
Yeah, shitty. Especially because she can't do both things at the same time.
Yeah, it's not like she can go on a speaking tour.
Yeah, exactly.
She can't
Fritz.
go do all this shit.
Yeah, so it's not that she holds this animosity deep down for Fritz, but it is starting to really weigh down on her. So a few more years go by, and suddenly it's 1914.
Ooh, good year. Great
And
year.
In 1914 in Germany, there's a slightly big war going on called World War I.
The Great War.
Yeah, the Great War. So Clara, who isn't seeing her husband, insists that he doesn't get involved. She's like, look, I know how much you've done for Germany. I know how much Germany praises you for what you've done, but you cannot get involved with this. I barely see you as it is. And
I bet what's the next big thing that I can go on a new lecture tour for?
his thing, he's so hell-bent on helping Germany and being this, like, German hero. He signs the Manifesto of the 93. Now, the Manifesto of the 93 is 93 German intellectuals in art and science got together and signed it and basically said, hey, we support why Germany is in this war, and we don't think they did anything wrong. And we think that, like, anyone that's against us, they're just not correct. And they wrote this in 10 different languages, sent it everywhere.
And they probably also said, and fuck Gavrilo Princip. Let's bring in the Serbs now.
They were like, and by the way, England can suck a cock.
Yeah. And Bosnia, just wait.
I'll actually, in September's Patreon exclusive, I'm going to talk about the Manifesto of the 93, prominent names that signed it, the controversy surrounding it, who didn't sign it, and then I'll also be talking about another couple things. So if you would like to hear more info on that specifically,
Patreon.
sign up for our Patreon. We'll have details at the end of the episode, or it's in the show notes. So Fritz reaches out to Germany to sign up for duty. And he says during peacetime,
and they say, go to the trench.
yeah, right. So he says during peacetime, a scientist belongs to the world, but during wartime, he belongs to his country, which is really fucking divisive.
Ooh, that is very. I don't know if I would agree with that.
No, not so much. It is a very bad.
I kind of think we're all humans.
Bad over patriotic take.
Yeah.
And I don't think that scientists should necessarily be involved in war.
And the reason that the war started in the first place was Gavrilo Princip shooting Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and it's spiraling out of control. It's a political war. The war happened because of treaties and politics.
This isn't just like a blatant misunderstanding and you're defending your country.
Well, this isn't like one country started scooping up land and you're defending yourself. Yeah, this is a war of honor, essentially, which is the dumbest reason to go to war.
God. So yeah, bad take. But like I said, Fritz kind of has this odd chip on his shoulder. He's got this big ego that, I'm a German scientist now. I'm not one of the normals out there. I'm not one of the poors.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of the select few.
I'm big. I'm a celeb.
In his eyes,
I'm a
he is now
Kardashian.
one of the 93. Like,
Yeah.
it holds a lot of precedence if you are in that community.
Oh, yeah.
So, in his letter to the German leaders, he points out that in the creation of ammonia to make fertilizer, there's a significant amount of energy released when the nitrogen splits and binds with the hydrogen. So, by reversing that chemical reaction, the energy release would be exactly the same because the nitrogen would snap together and, like, pop. So, this is, like, he basically outlines all of this when he's signing up.
He's like, this is my plan.
And he basically promises Germany all of the ammonia in his factories and says, I can make bombs that Germany can begin using.
Okay,
And
I was gonna say, like, I was gonna mention it earlier, but I'm like, I don't think it's pertinent. Yeah, ammonia is a huge ingredient. It basically makes bombs bigger.
yeah,
It's an oxidizer. So if you fire or explosives need energy, usually heat is that energy, and like oxygen, and fuel, of course. But that when you have an oxidizer, which nitrogen is one, it makes the fire or the explosion, the energy release,
bigger.
much bigger. So many bombs. I'm pretty sure, like the Oklahoma City bombing, that was huge.
Utilized
It
ammonia.
utilized big old bags of ammonia.
Yeah. So,
Sorry to sidetrack you.
No. You didn't. That's actually a perfect explanation because I know that in the title I say war criminal. This specific thing with the bombs is not the reason. However, the amount of people that are hurt by the bombs that are created by Fritz's ammonia factories is massive.
Oh,
it's in
yeah,
the
I'm
millions.
sure. Like-
Germany fully utilized it. They were like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah, why wouldn't we make our exploding artillery shells
From-
way better than cannonballs?
yeah. And from a German factory
Oh, yeah.
that says, hey, we know that we can't really focus on food production this year because we're in a war. So instead of all of this fertilizer that was going to be made, now we just have excess ammonia.
Well, and they don't have to export it. They don't have to export the
They don't
ammonia
have
to
to
France
fucking
anymore.
pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just makes sense that, of course, you're
Like,
going to make your bombs bigger.
He's not doing this to make a quick buck. I can almost guarantee that he was like, I volunteer it. Like,
Yeah.
I will not
You
be
cover
paying.
costs, and
Yeah.
that's it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll do it for pro bono.
Germany's going to take that offer 10 out of 10 times. Especially early 1900s Germany.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's huge. And Germany, this makes it so that Germany can not only survive longer. Obviously, this isn't their saving grace. These bombs specifically aren't going to win the war, but it's really going to extend their life to drag things out further while they figure out what's going to absolutely demolish the other side.
Well,
there are so many fucking allies fighting Germany that, like, to say, oh yeah, you have a new way of making bombs, it's not going to solve your problem, but like, it buys you a hell of a lot of time if you're Germany.
And it leads to the slowing down of troop advancement because you can artillery them huge. And it in a part, it's one of the many factors that led to the trench warfare that ended up being so brutal in this war.
All of the shelling and everything like that.
Exactly. You couldn't just be standing in a field.
Yeah.
You had to dig a trench.
Oh, God. And those trenches are full of bodies.
And water and fungus and disease and bacteria and shit and piss and blood and
It's
it's
World War I is
World
fucked.
War One.
It is a dirty war.
It's horrible. It's also one of my favorite topics to learn about. Like I listened to, there was like a 25-hour podcast that I listened about World War One. I listened to it in a week. It is so good. I want to listen to it again.
You should
hearing
send
about
it to me
this
because I love it.
I will. Yeah, I'll send it to you. And if you want to know what it is, DM me on Instagram.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, this is big for Germany, and it's big for Fritz. Fritz is excited about this.
He's a big scientist.
He
still,
gets accepted into his application. Obviously, he goes home and he tells Clara of his success in helping Germany, and she's just kind of
like, "What the fuck did I just say to you?"
Yeah, she's just left
betrayed,
like
maybe?
lost and worried and confused as to who this man is. This is 13 years that they've been married, and within like 1 year, within like 4 years, he's fully a changed person. He's a totally different guy than the one that was so willing to just
wait 11 years to get married. Like,
wait 11 years to get married, pull back and change his social atmosphere so that they can both experience it, make these sacrifices so that they can both be happy. He's
totally
a completely different person, and she's just stunned. She's always been a pacifist, and to see her brilliant chemist husband change and go in such a like, hey, I can create bombs for us to win World War I. Like, it just breaks her heart. She's left stunned and heartbroken over this whole thing. And I mean, this is from a guy that just 3 years ago came up with a way to save populations.
So many people.
He solved world hunger, and now he's like, I know how to make a bomb doing exactly the opposite of what I was doing to save people, which is a really, really fucking wild switch. That it's exactly the opposite.
Exactly. It immediately switched to, we'll bomb them.
This can create fertilizer, but it can also take lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, God damn, dude. So, yeah, he doesn't stop there. They create these bombs. They're using them. They start to turn the tide of the war a little bit more. They gain back some of their ground, like you said. They start to push back the Allies. Germany's
to the beginning of the war, they stomped the Allies. They basically did a single push that led to artillery distance to Paris before they started to get pushed back because of these bombs.
Yeah.
It took a while for the, I don't know, I guess allies isn't the right term, but the allies, the winners, to adapt to this new warfare.
This isn't the only thing
that
made that huge push.
I'm 100% sure
after
it's not.
These bombs were created, Fritz sits down and he says, okay,
let's do more.
I've made this big contribution. What's the next step that I can take to become a German hero for the third time?
Yeah, let's keep this rolling.
I mean, I've dipped my toes in it twice. Why not do it a third time? So he realizes that even though the bombs are an extension of Germany's life in this war, he's like, I need to find a way that Germany can win this. Because if anyone's going to be able to do it, it's going to be me. I solved world hunger. I solved us getting ahead in this war. Now I'm going to solve the way to end it and win it all. So he realizes that one small chemical is going to solve all his problems and make him Germany's hero. Chlorine.
Perfect.
So, by adding his distilled ammonia, he discovers how to create chlorine gas in mass. And he has fucking factories dedicated to this.
Perfect. It's just what we need.
He reaches out and says, hey, I think I know of a way that we can get this big push. He reaches out to a handful of German commanders, and he says, I need to figure out a way of testing chlorine gas. Surprisingly enough, these German commanders say, fuck off.
Really?
We're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm not letting you test chlorine fucking gas on any of my men. It's not going to
yeah,
happen.
fair enough.
Yeah. In the exclusive, I'll be talking a little bit about his testing, but he ends up finding some German commanders that are so fucking down and dirty that they're like, yeah, fuck it.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure he ends up killing a handful of Germans
yeah.
testing this chlorine gas. And suddenly it just takes off.
Yeah.
Germany sees results. They see that it's effective, and they're like, okay, let's do it. So once again, Clara discovers what Fritz has created and put together, and she comes out publicly and she condemns his work. She calls it a perversion of science, a sign of barbarity.
Good lady.
And Fritz comes out, and what do you think Fritz says?
I'm divorcing you.
No, he doesn't divorce her, but he accuses her of treason against the fatherland.
Holy
In
shit.
fucking World War I Germany.
Des Sudetenland.
So
Holy shit.
That's
That's going to be a rough after dinner. Like, no TV, no
that's a
radio.
rough during dinner.
Oh, yeah. But at least
So-
during dinner, you're going to eat.
This has flipped their relationship upside down.
Oh, I'm sure. Like, yeah.
And on a public scale. Like, it's not like, oh, you know, she comes out publicly and says this and this and this, and people are like, oh, who the fuck is Clara Huber or Haber? People know who she is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's well known in Germany. He's more well known. But when your wife comes out and speaks publicly against a war crime that you're planning on committing, then yeah,
that's...
people are kind of going to take notice
Yeah.
because you're being a piece of shit.
Yeah, real piece of shit.
Him, not his wife.
Yeah.
So
No, he's being an asshole. Yeah.
of course, his response is to just travel more and more. The less time he's at home, the less they're going to be fighting about pacifism. And they just aren't able to work through their differences. And I mean, this is a couple that fucking gave a shit about each other.
Which is rare for that time period.
So on April 22nd, 1915, after weeks and weeks of planning and watching wind direction on Germany's Eastern Front, France's Western Front, Germany decides to finally put together Operation Disinfectant.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, with the wind at their back, 6,000 German tanks roll forward carrying 168 tons of chlorine gas. 168 tons.
Tons of a gas.
Yeah.
You know how much gas weighs? Put your hand out right now.
How much does that weigh?
How much does that weigh?
Nothing.
Now imagine that much.
So Fritz is standing off to the side, and ultimately, this is his operation. He's been put in charge of this, so he's the one that's supposed to carry it out. So Fritz standing off to the side, smoking a cigar with his little round glasses.
His toothbrush mustache. Sorry, wrong war.
No, did
he have a toothbrush
Not a
mustache?
toothbrush, but it's a wide toothbrush.
Oh, okay.
Puts up his hand, says out loud, "May God punish England."
Holy shit!
Germany's favorite anti-British slogan during World War I.
Imagine you're all set up. You just have to give the order, and you commit one of the like a horrible war crime, and you say, "God's gonna punish the other guys."
And mind you,
What the fuck?
the other sides have known that this is bound to happen. They don't know what the fuck it is. They just know that chemical warfare it's on the brink, and he's had plenty of people, his wife included, but like people from the other side that are reaching out saying, you can't do this. Like, this is a literal war crime. You cannot fucking gas people on the war front.
What?
So
You can't do that?
he puts his hand up in the air, says, "May God punish England," and a 15-foot high wall of gas washes over the battlefield.
And then one of them puts a fan on the trench in front of him.
Screams of horror and pain are coming from everywhere in its wake. Plants and leaves are crumbling before their eyes because this is this shit kills
Shit is melting.
everything in its path. The wounded, whether they're German, French, English, are all dying and coughing up blood if they weren't already. Their eyes are basically melting out of their fucking skull. Everyone is starting to breathe in what is now at sunset. The sun's hitting it just right, and it's got this pinkish hue. And it's burning through people's bodies. People are ripping their clothing off, slapping their chest, scratching at their chest, trying to breathe. Any chance of breathing. They're not going to survive. This is fucking chlorine gas.
Yeah, this is...
They're well done for.
They're melting their airway tract. Like, their
like,
lungs are filling with the fluid that is leaking from inside their body. Like, they're bleeding and oozing into their own lungs.
This entire cloud of gas is moving faster than people can run. If you're seeing it, you're very likely
you're
already
dead. Yeah.
It pushes the front line, or like the main line, 6 kilometers back. Germany just gained over 5 kilometers in one massive gas. Like,
plus,
Germany. The German commanders that are seeing this are in awe because this has fully changed the tide of war. This is exactly what you were saying. This is 1915. This is a year into World War I, and suddenly Germany's looking a hell of a lot harder to beat.
Yeah, they're switching. It switches up from the stalemate that had started at that point to, now we can just push a line back 6 kilometers. You know what happens when you push
again tomorrow?
Just 1 second. The whole point, of the trench warfare is that even if one group pushed through, they would end up being surrounded.
Yeah.
But when you push them back with gas, that leaves, you can basically flank the two sides who didn't get gassed, and it opens up this huge opportunity for attack. Oh, it's hugely fucked.
All through a fucking war crime.
Oh, yeah.
Proposed by Fritz himself.
Fritz, the man who saved the world of hunger.
The incestuous
yeah.
Fucking baby that solved world hunger. So almost 6,000 men died that day, not including how many German men were probably trapped in there. I'm sure they didn't take that into account at all.
I'm sure they didn't care.
And Haber is promoted to captain. And
that's all you have to do is commit a war crime and you become a captain?
The worst is after he's promoted, he says, if you want to win the war, then please wage chemical warfare with conviction.
Yeah, exactly. You know that thing that's been banned since then?
Yeah.
Yeah, he really doubled down on that.
About a week later, a dinner party is held at his house in his honor.
Let's celebrate this.
Yeah, the highest German officials attend, as well as many, many, many prominent German figures. I mean, this is like everyone who's a somebody is at this party in Germany. And Clara is there, and she's furious. She's heartbroken. She doesn't even know what to think of Fritz. And she hardly speaks a word to anyone at this party. She is a shell of herself. Halfway through the party, Clara walks up to Fritz, and he's kind of in the middle of the room, and she loudly just walks up and says, you're so morally bankrupt. And I'm sure she's in tears because she says he's morally bankrupt and he's a monster in her eyes. And Fritz doesn't even look at her. Doesn't even look her way. And he says to his little group of friends, the group that he's standing around, that she's an enemy of Germany and there's nothing wrong with him serving his country. As the guests leave, Fritz and Clara retreat to bed. Both of them...
It's 2 separate rooms at this point, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Little to nothing is said between them, and they both fall asleep, or at least Fritz falls asleep.
Yeah, because he doesn't have anything weighing on his conscience.
Oh yeah, no, what conscience?
Yeah.
Clara sneaks into Fritz's room. She reaches into his army duds and finds his German-issued revolver. And she heads out to the garden.
Perfect.
She takes it out, aims it at her heart, and she fires and kills herself.
Damn.
Herman, her now 13-year-old son, awakes. He hears the gunshot.
Oh, for some reason I still imagined he was a baby.
No.
Yeah. He's like 13. That's
13 years old. He hears the gunshot, rushes outside to the garden where he hears it, and he finds his mom. And luckily he made it in time, just long enough for her to still be alive. But she dies in her son's arms. And he's left there holding his lifeless mother.
You mean the only parent that he's had this whole time, pretty much.
So Fritz wakes up the next morning, tells Herman to take care of it because he needs to leave to the Eastern Front tomorrow because he has another gas attack that he's got to send out.
Damn, doesn't even do shit.
And leaves.
Jesus.
Herman is heartbroken.
She was a traitor anyway. Just dump her in the back.
Yeah, this weighs on Herman for the rest of his life.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is the way that Fritz acted today, May 1st, 1915. May 2nd, actually. So Fritz goes, he does his other gas attack, and it kind of continues for a little while until the Allies discover a way to more or less filter out the gas with new mask cartridges, and they effectively stop Germany from winning the war by stopping this gas, these war crimes that are happening over and over and over to everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
All in all, over 100,000 people died of the gas attacks in the war. 1 million were wounded by it. Fritz's bombs killed millions,
countless,
millions more. I'm sure we couldn't even get a fucking quantifiable. Like,
yeah, you have
couldn't
to.
Even, there's no way you could figure out how many
you'd
people those bombs
You
have
just
injured
have
or killed.
to. Okay, 90% of people, like, you just have to figure out, like, how many people got shot. Subtract that from the total number of the war.
Yeah.
Everything else is him, essentially.
So, as Fritz becomes useless to Germany again,
yeah. What's he gonna do? Some lecture tours now?
Yeah, right. All he can think about is Clara.
Oh yeah. He's feeling some remorse now.
So,
Jesus, what an asshole.
He said, "I hear in my heart the words that poor woman once said. I see her head emerging from between telegrams, and I suffer." He sees her everywhere because he knows what he did.
Yeah, he fucked up.
He's realizing now that her warnings and her concerns were always right. And over the next 5 years, he focuses on what confused the shit out of me, extracting trace amounts of gold from the ocean and the sea and anywhere that he can figure it out.
Yeah,
because his focus is, he basically says, it's my fault that Germany has to pay reparations.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I'm going to pay it off myself. And so he goes on this big push to find gold where it hardly is.
Well, the thing is, in general, you can find trace elements of anything literally everywhere in tiny amounts. If you could come up with a way to just filter through dirt and only take gold out of it,
yeah, cool.
You can make a lot of money. But the process to actually do it, because it's such a tiny amount,
you're not going to get anything.
You'll never get a return.
So yeah, he focuses on this for the next 5 years, and during that time, in 1918, Fritz Haber wins the Nobel Peace Prize for his work in extracting virtually fertilizer from air. So the man that's killed well over 100,000 people at this point is
Just got the Peace
given
Prize.
a Nobel Peace Prize.
But it's for the earlier work.
Yeah,
He still
it's-
shouldn't have gotten it.
It's
though.
for 1911, Fritz.
Yeah. He's changed.
So
No.
over the next couple of years, he just is scraping by. He's trying to figure out what the fuck he's going to do. And then 1930s Germany hits.
Ooh. Depression, inflation,
So
radicalization.
right around the same time, Herman runs away to America, obviously.
Yeah.
And
His money isn't worth shit anymore.
He actually ended up taking his own life while he was in America.
Spoilers.
I will happily attribute that solely to Fritz. And Fritz's factories are pushed to fire all Jews. Now, Fritz hired almost specifically Jewish people in his factories. 75% of his employees are Jewish. And he refuses. And so the Nazis' response is to accuse him of harboring and protecting Jews. They call him Haber the Jew because
I mean,
that was
yeah.
old Fritz, you know?
That's what the paperwork's going to show.
So after years and tons of Nazi harassment and threats, he decides to flee Germany. And he figures the best place to go to stay away from all this is he goes to Cambridge in England, applies for a professor position.
May God punish the Brits or whatever.
May what was it? Let's see. May God punish England.
Yeah.
So he contacts Cambridge and he says, "Hey, I would like to be a professor there." And they say, "Yeah, come on in."
And they say, yeah, do you like swimming pools? There's a lot of chlorine in them.
Right? How are you at mopping floors? They bring him in, they sit him down, and they tell him that they would never, ever hire a war criminal like him.
Hell yeah.
He is stunned. They tell him...
I like that they called him in to say this.
I love it. It's
ballsy. I love that.
He's shocked. And they say, you know, you're the father of chemical warfare.
Yeah, like,
You're
the fertilizer
never-
thing was cool, but you kind of contradicted it.
Any intellectual position you ever try to fit into outside of Germany, good luck.
Yeah.
You are never going to be welcome in England. You're never going to be welcome in France. Fuck off.
Hell yeah.
So over the next couple of years, he just wanders Europe and he's doing little side jobs. He's trying to catch any fucking job that he can find.
He has fallen.
Nobel Peace Prize in his back pocket, war crimes in the other. And in 1934 in Switzerland, he is found dead of heart failure, alone in a hotel room.
Nice.
And in his own labs in the 1920s, Zyklon B was being created. He wasn't running the labs at this point because he was focused on his work with the gold and everything.
Still his lab.
Still his lab, yes. And they created Zyklon B utilizing his own chlorine gas formula. The biggest difference was that with this chlorine gas, it would give it's like natural gas. You get that weird smell where that's like your warning sign. Zyklon B eliminates that weird smell that you get from chlorine gas so that you don't have a warning sign.
Perfect.
And then after Zyklon B was created in his labs, it was handed over to the Nazis and it was issued to concentration camps. And many of Fritz's nieces and nephews and friends and about 6 million others
And all of his employees from
Yeah.
before.
were all killed by his own creation. So the man that may have solved world hunger also is responsible before the gassing and the Holocausts.
Perfect.
And if he had only listened to his wife.
To his goddamn wife, who was also a genius chemist, they could have done a lot of good for the world. They could have actually solved world hunger.
Yeah, they could have done so much more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fantastic.
The story of fucking Fritz Haber, man. What a piece of shit.
Really. I've heard of him before.
Yep.
And it's perfect. All the details I needed and I wanted.
God damn. So, yeah. If you hit success, don't become a patriot.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a pretty good thing. Don't get political because you'll go fascist real quick.
They'll turn you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you got that Patreon pulled up?
I guess so.
As always, if you guys do decide to subscribe, go over to us on patreon.com/PointShowPressure. We have a monthly exclusive that we release, and like I said,
it's going to be related to this.
Yeah, it's related to this episode. We do some sloppy seconds on there, which there will be more on the way for those. AJ has a series called Voices, and we've got an inside look at the studio, so go check it out. It's cheap, but if you can't afford it in your budget, no hard feelings. We're just glad that you're here. But at the very least, just go click around on it. We'd appreciate it. And if you don't want to worry about a monthly subscription, go to our website, pointsopressure.com, go to our support us page, and we've got a couple other options for stuff on there too.
Yeah.
Take it away.
If you do the support options, you can designate what the donation is for. So if you send us like $9, we will get any choice of beer that you suggest.
Yeah, or
and
whatever.
We'll drink it on the show.
We will drink
whatever
chlorine.
it is. Chlorine.
We will drink Zyklon B if you request it.
Yeah, if you request it and pay for it. Yeah. So we've got the...
We'll drink Jamestown Kool-Aid. I don't give a
Okay,
fuck.
This is totally not related, and most people skip this part, but I've been looking for Flavor Aid on eBay, and I found some.
That it's the same.
That's a little bit before the time period, but I got to do a little more research because I'm going to try to buy some. I'm going to do a taste test.
Since I now have the fucking green light for sports episodes, there is a sports episode, and I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a sports episode that would have to do with Jonestown.
Fuck yeah, I'm excited. That's perfect.
Yeah, I saw something for it a couple weeks ago, and I was like, no fucking way.
Oh, dude,
so
I don't know what it is.
That one's definitely going to be coming up.
I don't know what it is, but recently I've been getting episode ideas just hand-fed to me
same.
like nothing.
Same.
Out of, like, this whole year, I feel like I've been working hard to try to find something, and then out of nowhere, I'm like, oh shit, I have like 6 things to do.
Yeah.
All right, so the board, sorry for that. Minnie D and Toddle Waddle, thank you guys for allowing us to talk about.
You're the best.
Thank you for not gassing us this week.
Yeah, it's crazy. Minnie D is actually the one that insisted on us doing humanitarian work, and Toddle Waddle was the one that was like, hey, this episode would be great for war crimes. So
yeah,
we decided to mix the 2 ideas.
It's perfect, and it worked out this time. just like it worked out for
Fritz.
For Fritz, yeah. And then, of course, we've got Abby, AJ's Third Nut, Kitty Titties, Thomas, Weston, Dark Runner, D's Nuts, G-Dog, Hayden, Laura Revo, and Lindo. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and supporting us.
You guys are great. Shit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And as always, if you guys ever have any ideas for episodes, or you want to recommend movies, TV shows, books, movies, music, anything at all, by all means, reach out to us on Instagram at pointsopressure. Email us at ppdnaj@gmail.com, or go to our website, pointsopressure.com, and leave us a voicemail or an email. We'll catch you next Monday.